Okay, and this is the Masculine Geek random Sunday episode, just for shits and giggles, because we're up and we feel like doing it. Why? Because we can. You missed it earlier. Rob had a pizza. He was doing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle thing. Yeah, eating a pizza and making us all very jealous. Now I want a pizza, but I don't have a pizza. All I have is this Guinness. Ah, yes. Sir Rob's stroking his pussy.
I've got the Guinness coffee mug, but it's just coffee.
He has coffee in the Guinness mug. I have Guinness in a
green
dragon mug.
Oh, I didn't go to the Guinness plant. I went to the Jameson in Dublin, and that's where I got it from. What killed me is it had it used to have a little spoon that would go right here to stir the Baileys. Well, that broke. That was
hey Nick, we're being random.
What type of dog is that? It's not a dog. That's a cat.
It's a Maine Coon. Could be a dog. I'll tell you what. He's big enough.
So, how's everyone dealing with the Budweiser virus? I mean, the coronavirus. My bad.
The bug virus, beer virus.
Yeah. The Nova 6. I thought that was a good point.
Well, I mean, for the most part, it's business as usual. But it's, as I was talking with someone recently, it's not that I can't go out. It's that I don't have to certain places, that I don't have the option. I mean, I've told people I could just sit on my couch and a glass of wine or beer or something and read, or just look out the window and drool, and I'm fine. And usually that's okay. But every once in a while, you're like, oh, I want to go out and have, because I'll eat out once or twice a week. I don't have that option anymore. That annoys me. Obviously, you deal with it, but the fact that, yes, I could self-isolate for weeks on end and have no problem with that and just be productive. But I don't have that option to go to the places that I like to go. And I'm sure you're the same way, Rob. It's like, I want to go here and go whatever.
Yep. Well, it's, for me, it's the same thing. You and TJ both might be a little more, I don't know, comfortable being in your house than I am. I'm good with it for about a month, and then after that, I got to get out and do shit. Beyond work. Thank God I still got a job in that sense, and so I have that. That's how bad it is when you can go, God, I look forward to getting out of the house and going to work.
Yeah, right.
Because at least I'm getting out of the house, type of thing. Because same thing, the establishments I like to frequent, about 98% of them, they're all closed. And then the ones that are still open, if I want to get, if I decide I don't want to cook my own food, I have to either order ahead, which is not a big deal. I just don't like to do it. Or I have to use the drive up, which I absolutely hate because they fuck you at the drive through. To quote Joe, to quote Joe Pesci, they fuck you at the drive through.
That was really good.
Yeah, I know, right? Because that's what happens.
Ask
me how I know.
Yep.
How do you know?
Because I got been fucked at the drive-thru.
Yeah, it's been interesting for me because
I'm going to share something with everybody. This is I have to everybody go look at this right now. You're going to get a fantastic laugh. It's not long. Let's
screen share it.
Let me screen share it. All right, let's screen share it. Fuck
it up on the screen. You got the tab up or whatever.
That's true. This is fucking hysterical. All right, so share screen. No, not that screen.
Not that one.
Here we go. This cracked me up for some reason. I just cannot stop laughing. Especially like, wait a minute, fuck this shit, I'm out. Oh God, I love it.
Hey, trip to the Dagobah system was.
That's right. Apparently, it was something that was funny. I'll share it anyway, so anyone can see it themselves.
Tomorrow, we're gonna see Aaron tweeting out, "Where's the Dagobah system?" Asking for a friend.
Yeah, no.
There you go.
Yeah. Stopped online dating, started fingering his own ass.
I know, right? Oh, what's up,
Bacon?
Bacon? And thank you for the
Bacon,
2 hour and 23 super chat.
JD, I'm with you, dude, about the option to go out being taken away from you. I get it.
Yeah.
My question to everybody in the chat and the panel is this. How long do you think we do this as a collective? Not us ourselves, but as a collective. How long do we do this before we go, fuck it, I'm going out, I'm doing shit?
Well, that's
how long before businesses that are closed because they're losing money, some of them will not survive this if this keeps going. How many of them go, fuck this, I got to make money, and they go and open their doors anyway? How long do you think this is going to be?
I mean, at some point, I think at some point it's going to happen if they don't. I'll put it this way. As long as they're being financially compensated, but when people are facing just complete insolvency, like what do you have to lose?
Right.
You're gonna lose stuff anyways. This is why I don't think that this is a plan, because people are saying they're throwing out all this stuff about how this is a conspiracy, and I enjoy reading about that stuff because it's just fascinating as a writer.
And yet you're the guy that doesn't know about the boogaloo. But anyway, keep going.
But the problem with it is, you know what it's doing? It's detoxing people. It's forcing them, everybody's alone in their house. They're forced to confront things that they are able to avoid with.
Well, it's funny you say that too, because I'm here in my apartment. I hear what I thought was a TV playing, like, people talking and arguing. I'm like, damn, I've never heard their TV. Like, it's on the other side of my dining room wall. Like, well, that's really weird. So, like, oh no, shit, they're fucking arguing. That's awesome. So it was a couple that usually are peaceful, but the dude's always out on his phone, probably talking to other women, and riding around in his muscle car and doing his thing. He's a cool dude, going out golfing and whatnot, but he can't do these things. So now he's stuck inside with his wife, and I guess it's really not working.
Right. I think that it's forcing people are able to distract themselves, and now they can't, because they can't, for so many minutes it's been football, basketball, sports watching or whatever. And yeah, they can watch stuff on Netflix or anything like that, but they have to now interact in close proximity to people that they're able to avoid by just working too much. Most of these parents are spending more time with their children in the last week than they have for their entire lives. For like actually spending time with them in the same room and talking to them, as opposed to getting them up, getting them dressed, getting them fed, dropping them off at school, dropping them off at sports, where you're carting them around everywhere, but you're not actually interacting with them in a meaningful sense. So it's forcing them to do this. So if I was trying to undermine globalism, this would be a way, I'll put it this way. If I was a globalist, this would be a complete disaster, because when this is over, now people have real life examples to argue against public schools. They have arguments about why people
Ritalin and ADHD drugs.
Yeah. They're able to argue against or why people should be able to telecommute, because it's been going on now in mass, and also it can reduce traffic congestion. They can argue for why we need border security and immigration control, and that one is the most obvious. Anybody running on a pro open borders immigration policy is going to get slaughtered in the debate, because they can just say, how many infected people will you allow into this country? And they'll say, well, I don't support that. How do you prevent them if we don't control our borders? It's now the rhetoric is completely on the side of a nationalist. And then also there's the protectionism, where now somebody can just say, we are not having anything more produced in foreign countries where this kind of stuff can happen. We can't afford it anymore. The rhetoric is now all on the side of a protectionist, pro border control people. It's in favor of homeschooling. So I don't think that this is I see a lot of people saying this is a globalist scheme. It's like, it backfired. It's backfired. In the short term, yeah, they're using a ton of government controls, but that could be because they're desperate. They're desperate to, I don't know. They're not dealing even rationally, I guess, is the way I'm putting it. If that's the case, I could be wrong.
No, I see your point, and I
Makes
think
sense.
you're onto something. Yeah, I think you're probably more right than wrong. It's just gonna, I've been watching the chat here, and like Nick said, and God, who else was it here? I gotta scroll for a minute. And JD, especially where JD's over in Great Britain, or at least over in the UK area.
Right.
These guys, and I think they're right, that if it's when I ask the question, how long do you think this goes on before shit really goes south? And both of them have said pretty much a month, 4 weeks max, from today is what I'm thinking, so yeah, about another month. So it'll be about 6 weeks that if shit doesn't change, it's going to get real interesting real fast.
I think the other thing is, how can I put this? What is the government? I mean, aside from using a lot of government power that's unprecedented in American history, for the most part, I don't see how can the government continue doing this? Because they need tax revenue. So what happens when they don't get money anymore? Like, this is where I'm not following their law.
Now, but TJ, they just gave $2 trillion. What do you mean? They'll just make more money.
They just bring that shit right up.
So I don't fully. I feel like we're trying to understand a situation in which we have like probably 5% of the available of the actual truth. We're seeing the tip of the iceberg, because I don't know if you guys saw, but the Federal Reserve just got rolled into the U.S. Treasury. So now Donald Trump, the president, is now in direct control of the Federal Reserve. Prior to that, it's always been a private banking system in which the chairman is appointed, but everybody else is private. So you have a private bank in control of our currency. And so that was one of the things that happened as a result. I may not fully understand that, or that's what I've read. And if that's the case, that is kind of almost undermines everything else. Or I'd say it's one of the most important things, because now the U.S. government is, for the first time since 1913, in direct control of its own currency. That could be bad or good. And if they keep printing stuff, the money is going to become worthless. And then what happens? It's gonna be such an interesting situation, because as bad as the U.S. is in its state of affairs, it's still better than everybody else. It's the most solid ship in sailing into the storm. So there's no, people were, for years, I heard since I was in high school, that China was going to be dominant and China was going to take over. And I still see some people do that. I don't see that now. I see everybody kind of wanting to cease trade with them or cut off trade, because what happens when something like this occurs again? Like, I don't see anybody wanting to buy their stuff anymore. I see them wanting to produce that stuff in their own countries. And this would definitely be the case if this turned out to be as bad as, say, the Spanish flu, right? If it was as deadly as that, it's all over. Like, it's going to be like every global entity would be completely wiped out as a result politically. But
yeah,
we'll see.
That's right.
Bull Rush, just so you asked a question earlier. How long have we been going? Oh, about 15 minutes now.
16 minutes and 6 seconds, 7 seconds, 8 seconds. There you go. So we were talking privately for about, no one's privy to that, so suck it. We were talking privately for about an hour beforehand. So
I think there's a good topic from that, and it's about using this as an opportunity to reset something in your life. I wrote a blog post about it. If you've subscribed to the newsletter, which you should, and
most of you fuckers haven't, which I'm terribly disappointed, and I'll probably lose about 10 minutes of sleep over it. But yeah,
that much, huh?
Using this.
Well, maybe 8.
I'll give them 7 minutes. Possibly.
7 minutes. I'll give you 7
that
minutes.
Much, huh?
7 minutes of my loss of sleep.
But this is an opportunity, since you've got so much time, by yourself, ideally, or possibly, hypothetically, to really figure out what is something that I've been putting off that I need to reset. And for me, that's been dealing with some physical stuff, tendonitis and all that. But there's also other stuff that's going on that I see in my life where I'm trying to make improvements on, whether it's habits or just, improving other things. So that's where I'm looking at I don't like getting caught up in the whole, controversies over stuff that we really don't have any control over. And it's fun speculating about this stuff because I find it fascinating. But I'm always about, well, what actions do we like? What do we do? Like, I'm an action-oriented man, so my action is I'm going to get my body in better shape and in better condition because one, if things go bad, I need to be able to run fast and far without.
And clearly, you're too fat. So I mean, honestly.
So as I wrote in the post, I had tendonitis that was so severe, my lower back was perpetually stiff, and I felt like an 80-year-old man. That's just, I wasn't dealing with it. I would stretch a little bit, and then I would go lift, and then I would go try to go on a hike or try and jog, and my lower back would completely lock up.
Just give out. Yeah.
And so I just said, you know what? I got to deal with this because one, I'm 33, not 83, and
oh my God,
I know.
Jesus,
I'm a young pup, right?
You are. Well, you're going to inherit the Masculine Geek Empire when Rob and I kick the bucket in another couple of years.
That's right.
Hopefully, you won't get in any car accident. Just kidding.
Well, I will probably die on my motorcycle, and I'm fine with that.
So that's another interesting thing is like I enjoy that sentiment because that's kind of mine. It's like I want to go out in glory.
Mm-hmm.
He just sounds more. Thanks, Happen. Thanks. Well, there's not a lot of like, how can I put it? Not a lot of heavy lifting involved in. Well, I sit a lot and I lift heavy, so that's a bad combination. You got to stretch. So
you do, yeah.
If you're into bodybuilding, and this is what I've been wanting to talk about with Drew is, how do you properly stretch? How do you deal with tight muscles? How do you avoid?
Well, maybe we'll talk about that before the D&D game on Wednesday.
Yeah.
That'd be good. Just a quick discussion.
But that's kind of how I want to go out. I want to go out in glory. From Mad Max for Fury Road, right? Where they've kind of got that like riding off into Valhalla type attitude, on their bikes or their cars.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how, like, my biggest fear is actually just living a boring, uneventful life and then croaking it in. Like the worst death for me would be croaking at 2 a.m. in the morning in some senior retirement home, care center, with all these
with your hand down your pants.
Well, no, with like all these machines hooked up to me. I've lost my cognitive ability. I can't see. I can't hear.
Oh yeah, no, I get it. I mean, that's why Hemingway offed himself.
Yeah.
But yeah, so no, I that's my fear as well. It's not so much of dying, but dying in that kind of like tepid, mediocre way. Like, no, I'll like Rob and I are gonna die on motorcycles, or we're gonna both rent plane. I'm gonna rent a plane, come get him. We're gonna go like dive bomb into the sea or some shit.
Yep.
Like Rob, before I lose my eyesight, we're gonna do it.
I was reading an article about war, and it was Quintus Curtius, I think, who was doing it, where he was talking about how men need to have like boredom and inaction is the worst thing to a man. That they will prefer anything. I could have been wrong on Quintus, but I really was struck by the quote because he was talking about how this is why men get into combat or they want conflict or challenges or obstacles because we're not meant to just sit here and do nothing. I think he was on Twitter saying that because he was talking about how a lot of people are like inaction and passivity. And so for me, going through trials or ordeals or a hard life is actually preferable to living in boring, mundane comfort, right? That's part of
we're designed for conflict and competition. I mean, that's just how it is. And we find ways, unhealthily ways sometimes, we find ways to act that out as you were.
Yeah.
So, TJ, I watched Quintus' show, but I read What's up, Doc?
Oh.
I love saying that. What's up, Doc? Oh shit!
There's you, Doc.
There you go. That's Aaron's. I think that's Aaron Clary's fear as well.
That and not being 5'9".
That's true too.
So did you guys see, if you follow my Twitter, you'll see that they released the first season of G.I. Joe, the animated series. So I've been watching that.
Oh, did they? Oh, on what? Regular TV?
On YouTube.
On YouTube. Oh, okay. I'll check that out.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Before it was, and the reason I was so excited is because the DVDs are like $100.
What?
Yeah, they were absolute.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, they were so expensive. I never bought them. I was like, I can't justify paying $100 for this stuff.
No, that's a little too much. Even for a childhood, something you had as a child. I mean, that's too much.
Right. So I'm kind of curious because I've been watching the Batman animated series and Batman.
Oh yeah, that's good.
And the problem with that is it's like drinking a really good whiskey. You can't go back to anything of lower quality. And the Batman animated series was probably the best as far as storytelling. Batman Beyond was actually was solid as well. Like they're a cartoon animated show that I can watch as an adult, and they talk about adult, like mature concepts, like stuff that adults wrestle with, like loyalty to people who are, to old friends who are going down a bad path, or redemption, or anything like that. And they do it in a serious manner. So it's also fun to watch. I love watching old stuff from the 90s where they're trying to depict the future, because it's amazing how much they got wrong and how much they got right.
Yeah, right. Seriously.
Where they accurately predicted the type of stuff, like, back in the 90s, the idea that you would have a smartphone they couldn't have seen that coming. So all the phones are just these big phones, and they still use laptops and all that other stuff. So I just thought, or sorry, not laptops. They still use like big computers at the schools and all that. Mm-hmm. And the internet's not really utilized as much.
We're living in a sci-fi episode. We really are. It's amazing to me. It still boggles my mind that we have, this massive amount of research and information on our hips at all times.
That, and I mean, if I'd written
and porn.
Okay. I was oh God, I'm trying to think of what
I just derailed you, didn't I?
Yeah, you completely derailed me, because that was not
awesome. I stopped you from being brief.
God, Rob, it's your evil laugh. Oh, so I was working on I was planning to write the last book in the Stringer series that I wrote. And I was trying to think of, in that world, everybody's got this device that they have on their temple that connects them to the net, that is completely controlled by the government. And I was trying to think of something kind of similar to this, that would get them unplugged from it. Like, that's the great moment at the end where they finally unplug, not like from the Matrix, but where they just they stop being controlled. And I just thought, this is not realistic. Like, it sounds too far-fetched. Well, if I'd written a book describing what we're going through right now, it would seem kind of absurd. Like, people would say there's no way they would ever do that. Or something like that. Like, why wouldn't people just go outside their homes? Well, because they shut down businesses. Well, what shut down businesses? Well, they just comply. Like, I don't know. We definitely are living through a science fiction type story.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, we are.
So the question is, what role are we playing? I'd like to be the, not a resist. I'd like to be more of like the mercenary, like the Han Solo type, where I'm not part of the rebellion, but
that's kind of what masculine geeks are. They're kind of, Han Solos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Han Solo, say. Aw. But no, I agree with you. You're in the system, but you're not really like part of it.
Yeah, we're not trying to control the narrative. We got our own narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
For the most part.
We're gonna keep doing what we're doing, regardless of who's in control, which band of ruffians constitutes the government of the country. you know, I highly doubt guys like us will ever be in. Who knows? You never know. I mean, if there's enough fragmentation, we can just all congregate around one area and just declare it to be, I'm not sure what we would call our country or our nation. We'd probably call it like New Tortuga.
There you go. The new turtles.
Nation of New Tortuga. For people who, I'm assuming you all know what Tortuga was.
The Turtles?
No, not the Tortuga. It was this port city in the Caribbean where it was considered a neutral zone, so pirates of any.
I was thinking of yeah.
No, but
I was thinking of the dry Tortugas out by Key West.
People, if you've seen the Pirates of the Caribbean, the film, that's an exaggeration of what it was like. It was a kind of an open city as far as it wasn't controlled by any government. Meaning there was a government there, but it's like French pirates, English pirates, Spanish pirates could all go there. It was a neutral as far as that was concerned. So, obviously that's where they would go with all their gold to go spend it. What?
When you're asking people what we would call the country, or Pakistan.
Right.
No, everyone, Amos and everyone in the chat and everyone who's listening, I've noticed as far as YouTube stats and those things, YouTube is throttling us for some reason. Probably because we have the word masculine in our title now.
I think you're getting a little tinfoil hat, Vince. I've had a lot of subscriptions and not all of them are red pill and they're not showing up in my notifications.
Well, what I'm saying is those words and those type of videos.
I'm just telling you, when I'm watching guitar videos from a channel that's pretty YouTube friendly and he posts almost daily and I'm not getting notifications, it's not just us.
All right. Well, that's good. It just seemed like it was us and a few other people.
No, I get it, but no.
I think that this is another theory or a possibility.
And stop making fun of my tinfoil hat, you jerk.
This is another possibility that I've already prepared for. So if it happens, I'm not going to act surprised. I think that what we've been seeing since, say, 2006 for the last, 14 years, I think it's been a massive social experiment that is going to fall apart. And that's social media. I think social media is going to collapse because, YouTube does not make Google money. And they've been engaging in a short-term way of making money. And I think that, starting tomorrow, this is a scenario. I'm just, people were like, oh, what didn't happen? Yeah, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying it could happen. So the Silicon Valley just completely falls apart because all the startups and all these venture capital funded companies that weren't making money are going to fall apart. Everything's going to fall apart. And the ad revenue, Google's run by ad revenue, right? And if businesses go out, they can't pay Google for information and data. They don't get money. All this stuff starts going the way of collapse. And it's going to move towards a new funding model of some kind. I just don't think that what we're seeing today is in the long term viable. And what we're going to see is more of a social media platform where you pay for the service and your data is not shared, unless you want to sell your data, in which case you get a cut of the money and you get to tailor how much information you get to share. And also social media becomes a little bit more private in terms of who sees your information, because of just that's a possibility, because that is a business model that's sustainable where people are in control. They can sell their information if they want to, and they don't care. And it's a ad revenue system that is sustainable, I think. That's one possibility, is where they pay you, because then the person who's using the product is the customer, right? And you got to make them happy, as opposed to just making the ad people, happy. So I don't know. That's one possibility. I just don't think that what we're seeing today it's not normal, it's not natural, and it's not going to last. The idea that you should be able to have access to millions of billions of people and their opinions from all across the world, I think that that's psychologically not healthy. Without like you deliberately, I don't know. I'm kind of rambling at this point, but I just think about like, you know, and you guys are older than me, obviously. You know,
a lot older. Like
think how different.
decades.
Think of how different things were back, and say, you know, even as far back as MySpace, or you know, all that other stuff where your exposure to the world was a lot different, and how, I don't know. Oh, you're pausing really long.
Who's pausing?
You guys. I was like, what do you guys think?
Oh, there was a question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like saying, I just think that it's changed our way of interacting. And I really think it's also accelerated people's mental illnesses.
Yes.
Like,
we have access to mentally ill people, whether we like it or not. I mean, it's given everyone a platform.
Yep. Instead of 15 minutes of fame, you got 15 seconds now. Everybody gets their 15 seconds.
And the problem is, certain people are catering to them.
Yeah.
They're hoping they'll go away. And
the quality has gone down. Mediocrity is king.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that the other thing that would potentially end social media is when there's the first big lawsuit of some kind where a child whose video and photos were shared publicly on social media platforms sues and is able to collect damages. And the social media companies are held accountable because, you know, back when I was growing up and when you guys were growing up, when family took pictures of you, they put it away in the house. They displayed it in the house. They didn't reveal it to the whole world. They didn't post everything you were doing online. I see parents posting stuff online all the time of their kid. And these are when you become a teenager, these are incredibly embarrassing, humiliating things to show.
Oh, right? Yeah. These blogger moms and power dads that are doing that, they're going to have a rude awakening.
That's going to bite them in the ass in a few years.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, my policy is, and I feel fortunate because it wouldn't have occurred to me until now, or not right now, but like just if I'd gotten married young, if I ever have kids, there will be no posting of their stuff online. I will tell anybody who posts pictures of them, like takes photos of my kids or whatever, like family photos, like, they're not to go online, right? That maintaining child's privacy is important. And so I think that's another thing that could kill social media. You know, like parents are having their kids on YouTube and they're showing their videos and all this other stuff. And it's like, you're kind of violating you're taking advantage of somebody who can't set boundaries and say, I don't want this shared publicly.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be like the new libel and defamation of
character. Hey, there's an idea. I hate to break your train of thought, but I have to throw it in there, TJ. Since, 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds can choose their gender now.
Yeah.
Then 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds can also say, Mom, Dad, I do not consent to you putting my fucking picture on the internet.
Well, yeah. I mean, that makes more sense than any of that other stuff. It makes sense that they would say, you know, at age 16 or 17, you know, people are pulling up stuff from when they were 5 on Facebook, their parents' Facebook page.
Yep.
Well, I mean, all it's going to take is one big lawsuit and like their whole business model falls apart because now they got to censor all these photos. They got to delete photos. They got to delete all this other stuff. Oh my God, Vince.
Got to keep throwing that out there. That's one never gets old.
That'll never get old now.
I do not consent to hearing that.
Well, we lost Rob.
No, he's just hiding because he's, you know, cozying up with his cats.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think the world we're living in right now is a temporary phase in history, and it's going to go away.
Well, not only that, just legally,
right?
When it comes down to like copyrights, because as you know, I have a slight copyright issue with a family member, but the copyrights, a bunch of things that are just like entrenched with social media that there are no laws for yet. The legal system doesn't know what to do with it yet.
Right. I think what's going to happen is, what was I going to say? I was going to say something about, okay, I kind of lost my train of thought there on what I was saying.
It's all right. You'll come back to it. All right, Doc, we're going to give you a plug. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, go over to Doc.
After we're done, then head over there.
Yeah, after we're done, and then go buy a book on school safety.
It's very good.
Because it's not just a book on school safety; it's almost a philosophy book on mindset.
It really is, especially the first chapter, couple chapters, and you're going to learn about a bagel. Yeah,
learn about the bagel.
Learn about the bagel.
Well, speaking of which, I ate a bagel for the first time in like probably months. I don't eat them very often anymore because.
Well, yeah, Doc, that's the problem. I had a family member lift a website header from me to use on his own Twitter page. Now, the interesting thing about it is the image that I used, I paid for. I paid for a commercial license for. I have timestamp server uploads of when I uploaded it. So he doesn't have. If I was to pursue this legally even further, he has no leg to stand on. So, but I'm not going to get into that in a public forum. But anyway, it's people are just like, oh, I found this on the internet, I'm just going to fucking use it, not realizing that this is someone's art or someone's work, and they're just throwing it up on their site.
I mean, this is. Oh, I was saying why it's so important for people to kind of not be prepared for it like it's going to happen, but just be prepared in case it does happen, like preparation. And mental preparation is actually really important because if you believe something's not possible and it happens, you really like something shuts down inside of you, right? And what I mean by that is, imagine how many people are invested in social media. Like that is their identity. That is what they're about.
You see that all the time. Motherfuckers all over the place. Girls lose their minds when they get, deplatformed on fucking Instagram.
Well, think about how many of those. I mean, do just use girls as an example. Think of how many of them are so used to being able to get attention by just like they go on Tinder, they go on whatever dating apps, and they've got a guy who's showing up every single night or whatever it is. Now they're stuck by themselves in their home, and for as far as support, all your hookups and your booty calls are not going to provide you with emotional support.
Did you just say booty call?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So refreshing when you get degenerate.
I describe it. I call a spade, so
He said spade too. Oh boy. We're gonna talk about spies and spooks and maybe
well, no, it's like, so all these people who are just so used to benefiting from the system are now left alone with the consequences, which is they didn't cultivate any meaningful relationships with anybody. And also, if they can't get access to, how many people are going to break down if they lose access to drugs, right? But here's another crazy thought that I was getting to. What happens if we move to a world, theoretically, just a possibility, where the internet as we know it just stops? And it stops because it's not, or it just becomes a very limited tool for whatever reason. I don't know what the reason would be, but just it's so limited that we don't really use it for a whole lot of things as much as we used to.
That's true.
Or if you live in a country where the government just says, you know what, for the betterment of our nation, we are severely limiting internet access. Right?
China asshole.
China
asshole.
No, I'm just thinking that let's say theoretically someone did that. Like a government said, we are going to limit the ways the internet can be used.
China asshole.
China asshole.
No, I mean, I'm saying like, would it be a
There's
net
no
positive?
there.
Would it be a net positive or a net negative? I think
we'd have to ask people from China. They'd be able to tell us.
Well, that and they need to stop eating bat soup.
Well, there is that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I'm kind of prepared for a complete overhaul or upheaval in the social order. And this is another thing I would recommend to people. Kind of keep a look. I mean, we're saying this on a live stream, but nobody I have to worry about is going to be on watching this. But if you got your act together and you've unplugged and you're not going to be really impacted, probably want to keep a low profile on that, because people around you that you know, when they go to suffer the consequences of not preparing, they're going to want to dump their problems onto you. That's just what's going to happen. It's like going to be friends, family, relatives. We talked about before about exes or old girlfriends DMing you or whatever. We make jokes about it, which is kind of.
I got one a few days ago.
Yeah, they're yep. When it comes down to it, if you're a guy that's reliable and dependable, people are going to try and take advantage of you.
And I completely was like, see, I told you so. I let her have it.
There's people I've talked to about this kind of stuff, and they looked at me like I had lobsters crawling out of my ears. Now it's like, well, who's laughing now, right? I mean, I'm in Fortress Americana. I'm set. I've been preparing for something like this for a while. So, but I don't want people. What?
Last time I ever seen. Oh my God. It's a modern life nipple. Modern life nipples in the house.
Oh shit.
Ruh-roh.
Get another live show, band.
Yeah. So
that's right.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Rob, and the Brit guy we got on the live stream. JD. Yeah, I think once it starts has been too much exposed to what? Too much. Yeah. No. I live in the Pacific Northwest. Trust me. I see enough stuff. I've seen enough for a lifetime. So I doing just fine where I'm at and kind of isolating myself because it's a jungle out there, guys. Except I live in the mountains, so it's a
mountain out there.
It's a mountain.
It's a mountain out there. You gotta watch out for them. You gotta watch out for them goblins, TJ.
Yeah,
that's right. Oh, yeah. So let's get into more personal stuff since we're doing a random live. Yeah.
Right,
well, I don't mean
feel about your mother.
Well, my mom's dead, so I don't have to worry about that.
So is mine. So
there you go. We already know how TJ feels about his beer. Yeah, I thought you were drinking coffee. When did that happen?
I've been holding this for like the last 30 minutes.
I don't pay attention.
Everyone. I'm the beer infection.
I don't pay any attention to anything you do. So.
Well, that's obvious.
No, I honestly didn't see it. No.
I do have it down here.
Exactly. No, it's by your mouth. Put it in your mouth. Now, no, what I mean by personal is like, what are you guys doing? Like what, like in a lot, like I know what you guys do normally in a lockdown quarantine version of TJ's Fortress of Bachelortude. What are you doing daily?
I am mostly I've been focusing on with the tendonitis. So I've been really, I've been taking a lot of using Epsom salt to help deal with that stuff, and then doing a lot of stretches. And I've gone on back-to-back hikes. I've been doing different workouts. I'm also planning to completely revamp my weightlifting regimen to fit more of what Drew's recommended, because I was looking at some of the stuff I was doing and realized that he was making a lot of good points about stuff that I was doing that was not correct, or that most guys do that wasn't good. And then I've been working on books. I just sent you my latest one.
I'm going to be reading that starting tomorrow, and I'll probably finish. I'll let you know by the evening. Give my feedback.
Yeah, I actually found, so there's this girl who did an audiobook that I didn't get a chance to respond. I did get that. I will check that out. Yeah, I really love her voice, and I found where I can hire her. So I'm really going to try to see if I can get her. This is one, unfortunately for Jack Napier, this is one where I wrote it. Where I really wanted a female British voice to be doing because
if Jack squeezes his nuts hard enough, he'll be able to get that high falsetto going.
Yeah, exactly. He could be a falsetto. Yeah, he's just got to sit on his nuts a lot.
Exactly. Just squeeze his legs together. show his mangina.
For people who don't know, I had Jack narrate a book that I'm still waiting to finally publish, but I've shown it to relatives.
That's not what you're thinking.
But I like it.
I know,
context.
Right?
Context.
Context.
Always about context, that's for sure.
Yeah. But what's funny is I gave them the copies of his the file, the MP3 file, and they all thought he was Scottish.
Really?
Yeah, they thought he had kind of the clipped Scottish accent because you don't really hear Dutch a lot. So
you freaky deaky Dutch bastard.
Well, but Jack doesn't even have a Dutch accent.
He doesn't. No. He sounds more English. Like
he does.
British to me, right? Yeah.
He sounds more Mexican to me.
Atham, look that up.
More Mexican. He sounds more Mexican than Atham.
Dude, Atham sounds like a total white boy he sounds like a white boy trying to be a Mexican is what he sounds like. Just saying.
Gotcha. All right. I'm sure he appreciates that.
If I'd never seen him, I'd be like, he's not a Mexican. He's a white boy.
He's a white boy from it's a white boy from Texas.
Well, he lives in fucking Nevada. It's like that's the land of white people for the most part.
I guess I don't know.
And he's a caver and all this other stuff. That's white people activity.
I only know
that's not what Mexicans do.
No, what do Mexicans do, Robin?
They're gangbangers.
They're gangbangers. Christ.
And they make tortillas.
Is there a name for that, Atham? Is that like some kind of like slang name for that?
Well, I mean, he could be called a Tejano.
What did you call him?
Tejano. It means Texan in Spain.
Oh, okay. Coconut? As in coconut water? I don't get that.
Brown outside, white inside. Okay, there we go. Yeah, he's a coconut. There we go.
Is this true?
Atham is our resident coconut. There
Athens
we go.
In the tennis club. He teaches it actually. That's right, safety doc. Coconut.
He's out there golfing with Aaron, who's about as white as you get.
Boomer Clary.
He wears out there golfing with Aaron.
Checkered white shorts.
But I'm from the barrio, Holmes.
Where's one of these?
You're a white boy. Shut the fuck up.
Oreo. Is it the coffee Oreos?
You know what's funny about this is we can be quasi-racist here, and Atham's all down with it. He's okay with it.
He's more racist than we are.
No shit. He's the only Mexican to get banned for talking shit about Mexicans.
I know, right? Aaron is super white. Aaron is indeed super white. Oh my god. And he's very well. Was that on his last podcast, TJ? You were telling me about that thing he was doing with his girlfriend?
That came out bad.
Yeah. Well, it's not what you're thinking, but
context.
Let's put it in context. Aaron likes to rub women's feet. So there you go.
No, correction. He likes to rub his wife's feet.
Well, we don't know how far back the feet rubbing goes.
Well,
so that's why I use
fetish for Aaron.
Well,
exactly.
is when his wife tells him, "My feet are sore," he kneels at the feet of Milady and massages her feet. And then as soon as he walks out the door, he gives her a call to make sure that he's okay.
Oh, okay.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, damn.
God damn, Marty. Fuck you.
Fuck. I'm dying. I got the Catrona 69
this,
virus.
Marty. Fuck you.
Oh, Rob's all squishy on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Rob's a good guy. Aaron's
different. You're right. That'd be hate speech. Oh, shit.
Oh, fuck.
And that's another one. I've seen a little bit of Bacon stuff, and from what I understand, he's of the darker persuasion, and he's a white boy. From what I'm seeing, he talks like a white guy. He acts like a white guy. It's like what the fuck?
Dude, gets his fedora.
That's a good one.
Oh my gosh.
This is the Bust on Aaron show. Apparently.
It's so funny, like, when you make ethnic jokes and they're done in like lighthearted, good. Like,
everyone loves them.
Yeah,
it's just funny.
When people make lighthearted jokes about white people, it's the funniest thing in the world. And the idea of getting offended about something, so it's like, guys, if it's true, like, have a beer and here's a chorus.
And shut the fuck up. Yeah.
Here's a Corona. Calm down.
No shit.
Like the whole tennis thing or the golf club stuff, or like where the guy's got that little sweater tied over his, the prepper boys or whatever, that kind of stuff. So it's kind of a sad thing where you watch those old cartoons where they've got like the funny ethnic jokes in it, and they're not done in like to dehumanize anybody. It's funny.
Oh shit! That half oppressed.
You hockey puck.
No shit. It would be great to see an SJW come across this particular episode. They would die.
Probably.
All these white boys making fun of our minorities. How could they?
I'll rename this episode the Masculine Geek Random Sunday racist episode.
Oh shit. Us white crackers are, oppressing the minorities in the chat.
Bacon, you're absolutely right, which is why my ancestors were European mutts, and we're doing just fine now. My one of my older elderly relatives is 85. Got the virus.
Chest. What the hell did you find?
What?
Let me put it back up there.
Yeah, I gotta look this up now. I got Atham look this
That's
up.
that zero bar that it was
fuck all
brown on the outside and shit on the or white on the outside, shit on the inside.
I gotta see this. All right. Everybody's all fucking quiet. Oh god, that is fucking classic.
Hang on a second. I'll share it.
Yeah, you gotta share that screen.
This is Rob.
White on the outside, shit on the inside. Yep.
Too fun.
Damn.
That's funny. Oh my gosh. Zero bar equals Rob.
Yep, no shit.
Zero bar Rob. And
that's right.
There you go.
What
in more ways than one. Zero ambition, zero fucks given. Yeah.
So what's Vince's? What's his?
What? What's my what?
We got to come up with a nickname for you.
Well, he's a guinea wop,
That is true.
I'm the guinea wop dago.
No, you're the Irish little prick, is all you are.
I am half Sicilian.
See, he's even got the last name, so he's the guinea wop. You know?
Yeah. Fuck you guys. I've been called. I can't say it.
Oh, Safety Doc brought it up. The latest comment from him. Airplane. They will never in today's world make a movie like that again.
Oh my God.
Never.
Joke about
Well, same with Blazing Saddles too.
Yep. Yeah, those ones they'll never. The closest they've ever come to that is that movie like 5 Million Ways to Die in the West or something like that. That came out a few years back. That's the closest one that they'll ever get back to Airplane, Blazing Saddles, History of the World Part 1 that Mel Brooks did.
Piss
all
boy,
that shit.
Piss boy.
Yeah. Yeah. You look like a bucket of shit.
I think another movie that would never get made today is Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, that too.
What do you mean, we people? What do you mean, we?
What do you mean,
we people?
Yeah, all that shit that will never get made again, man.
When he's talking about the Academy Awards for playing retarded people.
Oh yeah. You never go full retard. Oh my God. Did the magic word.
Oh my gosh, there's so much. Why are people talking?
Don't say retread.
Retreaded.
Retreaded.
Let me try speak jive. That was one of the best scenes in the movie. That and this looks like I picked the wrong time to quit sniffing glue.
There you go.
I'm trying to think of some of the other films that
even Jack Nicholson's movie from 1997, As Good as It Gets.
Yeah,
I've got Jews at my table. It's not your table; it's the restaurant's table.
No, the worst or the
well, the best line was like, "How do you write women so well?" Well, I think of a man, and I take away reason and accountability.
Oh my God! I was watching MASH recently because it happened to be not at my house. It was at another person's house, and they were making so many women jokes.
Yeah.
Because there's the one girl who's the nurse or doc or medic or whatever, and he's just like dismissing her, like, yeah, well, like kind of these things. I was like, oh my gosh, like you'd lose the job over that today.
Oh yeah.
And, it's kind of amazing when I watch some of the Abbott Costello. Oh my gosh, I was watching some of the Abbott Costello films, and they're a little cheesy. There's some, kind of.
They're good.
But no, well, it's crazy. Like some of the stuff that they say in those films is like you could never get away with saying that today.
Yeah.
Just casual stuff. It's like it wasn't meant to be a joke, right? Like there's this one hit the ice where the nurse comes up to the doctor and says, I think this patient is faking his temperature or he's faking his sickness. And he goes, I suppose you have something more to show me than just a woman's intuition. Like just, what do you know?
Oh, that's great.
Oh man. It's refreshing though. And it's a little like enlightening or enheartening or whatever you want to call it. I'm watching all these assholes in the chat and they're all quoting lines from Airplane. Or they're doing a twist on it like what Atham did. But I'm seeing all of that. Yep, with Sass with Little Timmy. Have you ever seen a grown man naked? Oh my God. Yeah, that kind of shit, Kay. That gives me hope for the future because while that movie will probably never be made again, not in our current climate anyway.
They won't even remake or reboot it.
No shit.
Nope.
But the fact that all these motherfuckers in the chat they're quoting lines from it, it's like, oh, all these guys have seen it. This is because that to me is one of the greatest movies ever because everything in it literally is verbo 10 now.
Spear Chucker Jones.
We got a movie quote. I just posted in the private chat. Rollo Tomasi.
You want me to share it?
Sure, go ahead.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not? I mean, do what I did the other day when I said, fuck it, I'll post it.
No, that was I'm like, oh, here we go. Jesus Christ. All right, let me just go over here.
Yep, pretty much. That's it. Share that with everybody. Yep.
I can do that if you want, but there you go.
There it is.
It's too funny.
One of my favorite lines from that movie is when he goes, all right, Father, I'll ask him. And then he's talking, and the guy goes, is your father a ghost? Oh, do you plan to converse with the Almighty? And he goes, in order to find his equal, an Irishman is forced to talk to God.
I like your Twitter header, Rob. I can do what I want.
Right.
That's funny.
True.
I'll share your.
Go for
your thing in a minute. Hang on.
I took one from there was a comedian who did that originally, because I remember seeing the clip that somebody had tweeted it on Twitter that like a cop asked him, like he was out in a park or doing something, and the cop comes up and is like, hey, you got a permit for that? And he's like, oh yeah, right here. And he pulls out this paper that's all folded up, and he fucking unfolds it and hands it to the cop, and it says, I can do what I want. and then Drew Bay took off with it too. Yes, there it is. The tweet of the century.
And that's not even yours. You got that from somebody else.
I got that from someone else, but man, I'll tell you what, that is a beautiful thing right there. Guess who's getting unstuck in 2020?
Jesus Christ. Oh, God. Too funny.
Yep. So yeah, it's definitely like I said, it takes some of that dark cloud that's been hanging over us off my head a little bit when I see all these assholes in the chat and they're all quoting fucking Airplane. It's like, all you guys, I love you all. It's like, these are all guys I would sit down and have a beer with.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I might just wondering if in the future sometime I just feel like we got to get to a point where government control is so weak that men can actually congregate and act and also defend the perimeter, if that makes sense. Like somebody shows up and like some gal wants to be admitted and like, yeah, no, and she can't whip up a social media mob anymore. She can't use the state or whatever. Men can actually do that kind of stuff. It's almost like this kind of thing, except imagine it being a bar, right? Where the bartenders are guys like us, or whatever, the performers or stuff like that. But this is kind of the modern bar now, because it's the only place where we can actually control the space that we're in, right? Because they can't force themselves onto our live stream,
right?
So we're chewing everybody's at home drinking a beer, chewing the fat online, and but this is the only way to do it, because everywhere else there's no more men's clubs, there's no more cigar. Not yet. I mean,
it's getting there.
We have plans for that. Shh.
Well, yes. Shh.
Right. Shut the fuck up! God damn it, you guys. So get TJ with a beer and
got another. Chesty, look that up. There's another link from Chesty. You might want to look that up.
All right, let me see. Let me head over to the.
Do I even want to look?
Oh, no, it's the not to where I have a permit thing. Hang on, I'll share it.
Oh,
yes.
That's funny.
Atham, you're slacking.
There you go.
There it is.
That's Ron Swanson from Parks
that's
and Rec.
The guy.
Yeah.
That's the guy.
That's funny.
Yeah, I can do what I want. That's my new Twitter header. That's right. Fuck them. I can do what I want.
That quote from Sass One Too Many is from Heartbreak Ridge, would be Clint Eastwood as Gunny Highway.
Love it.
Yep, it's a good movie. If you have not had the pleasure of viewing it, get off your asses and view it.
Hey, just saying, click on the photo.
Click on the photo, say.
Yeah, click on the photo, sir.
Click on the photo.
Yeah, click on the photo. There we go.
Oh, okay. Ron. That's funny. Let's make that a little larger.
Do what I want. Pretty much, Marty. Yes, that's kind of what I did. I can do what I want. Yes.
Well, we do what we want, and we try to avoid attracting attention. I think is.
Fuck that. There's no such thing as bad attention. Not in today's day and age.
Platforming and cancel culture.
You fire up another platform, you carry on. That's the thing. There's been enough. That's the thing. I'm glad you mentioned that, TJ, because I want to throw my 2 cents at that one. So, yeah, guys get deplatformed and cancel culture and all the little fucking buzzwords. Fine. And yet, there's guys right now that these guys in the chat know who I'm talking about. A certain weightlifting ballerina that said something at some point, and he got his Twitter shut down, which is kind of a big deal for him, considering that's where he does all of his marketing on, to get people to sign up for a newsletter, and then he sells them a bunch of stuff on Gumroad. Okay. The guy got deplatformed for 3-4 fucking days. And there was even a hashtag trending about him. Okay. Motherfucker's back. Like nothing happened. Okay. Alex Jones is back as far as I know. The only way you get deplatformed permanently is if you decide to go, fuck it, I don't want to bother with it anymore. But otherwise, yeah, it's going to take some work. But I don't know about Vince. I'm sure he's doing it. And if he's not, shame on you, Vince. But he's probably backing these videos up.
They're all backed up, yes.
Yeah, I back up all of my personal videos.
All these are downloaded, and I'm slowly uploading them to BitChute.
There you go. And so you have an alternate, whether it's an alternate platform altogether, or it's an alternate channel that, hell, we got Masculine Geek #2 in the wings in case. It's a glitch. It's a bump. It's a speed bump. They cannot shut us up.
That's right.
All they can do is tell us to quiet down for a minute, and then you're back. It's not that big a deal. It's all bullshit.
Pretty much. I agree.
And when you're not doing it for money, this isn't our livelihood.
Yeah,
that's
the point.
There you go. Yeah, if it's your fucking livelihood, then, whether you like it or not, you probably ought to watch what you say. But this ain't my livelihood. And you know what? My fucking job knows I do this stuff. They're like, hey, as long as you don't talk shit about us, we don't care.
Right.
So in that sense, I'm anti-fragile or bulletproof or whatever fucking, terminology you want to throw at it.
Bulletproof Rob.
That's it. Because it's like, well, I'm not reliant upon YouTube to make my income. So fuck it.
There you go. And speaking of fuck it,
what I want.
That's right. And speaking of doing what you want, Rob, can you do what you want and let it and give everyone your hour spiel?
It's your time for the pitch.
Yeah.
All right, guys, hit the like button. It sends tingles to YouTube's vagina, makes her come, makes her wet and squirmy, gets her all giggly. She likes it. We like it. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Don't worry about the notification bell because apparently it's broken anyway, so fuck that. Share this. Dudes, definitely share this.
Yeah, this one is
share this with everybody because of all of our little contextual isms and slurs and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I'm going to send you a link in the private chat that's going to just reaffirm everything that was talking about the invasion of spaces.
Right.
1 second, let me put it in.
Oh, TJ's gonna put it in. Come on, you walked into that one.
He put it in. He inserted it.
Oh God, you want me to? Sorry.
And it's Adult Swim of all things.
Yeah,
so he's really putting it in.
That's right, you dirty whore, you.
No, it's talking about how it's this TV show about these women crashing a dude-only party of some kind or something like that. Huh. Again, it's about them invading a male space. Like that is the Like how many things, guys have no interest in entering a female space unless they're gay. Right?
No, we really don't. I always bring it back to me going over to Barnes and Noble and seeing the ladies there in their knitting circle. And not for a moment do I wonder, why aren't there men there? There needs to be more men there. Who fucking cares? We don't care about that. We're not gonna go invade it just because we feel the need to be there as men.
Yeah, my bad. I misunderstood part of the story. This is a theme. It's about invading what is considered to be a male space, which is Adult Swim. I don't have cable. I don't watch any of this stuff, but it's seen as a good thing. Like, oh, here's a place where there's a bunch of men or a male-dominated environment. Let's invade it and shove our propaganda into it, right? And then they use the word alpha to describe a 50-year-old woman.
Here's hoping the Deborahs are just the first of many new female guests invited to Adult Swim's pool party.
Okay, Karen.
Fuck out of here with that shit. Stupid. All right, let's get rid of this.
See, there you go. We don't invade women's space because why would we do that?
Yeah, like, it's boring as fuck.
Yep.
Right.
Well, I've always said
nailed it. It's dick envy.
I've always said that the feminism was fundamentally was penis envy.
Not for nothing.
Not for nothing.
Not for nothing.
Well, I think there's another thing about it is that they want to go to a place where there's few. The initial ones, they want to go there where there's no other women, so they don't have to compete. They don't have to do anything, right? They imagine if you're the only girl in a male environment, you can just sit back and relax because there's no competition, right? They want a monopoly on male attention.
Well, that's it. There's no female competition, but there's male competition amongst themselves once the female's injected into that space. You can't help it. I mean, it's how we're wired. That's why I get sort of like low level crap sometimes from people like, oh, well, how come you don't have any women at your D&D game? Because unless I'm running a D&D game with all women in bikinis, I don't fucking care.
Female bikini.
Yeah, exactly. I'll provide them too. I don't like that they change the dynamic. Okay, and a lot of well, you're diversity. Blah, blah, blah. I don't fucking care. Okay, I don't care. Get the fuck out of here. I've had it too many times, whether girlfriends, wives. They're not invested in the game, for one. Yeah. If a girl is really serious about the D&D game and there's no bullshit, yeah, maybe. But fundamentally, I haven't run into many, my own, anecdotally speaking, they don't care. They want to be there because we're playing it and they want to insert themselves in that space.
Right.
All right. Oh God, we don't want to feel left out. You're doing it. Why can't I? And then they make up goofy D&D names for themselves. And it just, the dynamic fucking changes.
You're
complete changes.
I think that's the other thing, Vince, is like socialization or not being left out. Inclusivity is a feminine value, whereas men want exclusivity, meaning we want to exclude. We want
the best motherfuckers around us is what we want. We don't want fucking jackasses because someone told us we had to have a jackass because of their skin color or their religion or whatever. Fucking care about that. Or their gender. If you are invested in this D&D, if you're invested in the game, you're there to play the game, fine. But it still doesn't matter. It changes the dynamic, and I don't care. We're gonna have women here. Fucking care. No. Now, having said that, if you go to a convention, I'm not trying to stop women from playing at a convention in a public venue. Fucking do that. In my own private game, fuck you. No.
Right. And I would, for men, this has kind of been my observations, is that do not enter or become really involved in a space where it's a converged, traditionally male space, converged. And the men, because one, you can tell that you will know the men in charge have adopted the feminine mindset about inclusivity.
Yeah.
Inappropriate or just dysfunctional behavior by the females or the men will be defended by the leader, by the person in the space. Because they've already accepted that. This is the difference between men and women. Men want organizations where you have to prove yourself. And once you've done that, you are then accepted into the group. And unless you really screw it up, you don't have to go through the initiation again. What women do is they want to bring in everybody, and then it's a continuous state of having to adhere to constantly changing rules in order to stay in the group, right? They bring everybody in. It's like a startup that hires too many people, and they know that, and then they just start laying people off on the slightest pretense. Like, I didn't like his clothes and like his hat. Like, we're just, it's kind of like a power trip, right? You're able to, it's part of it is the ability to just remove people for arbitrary and capricious reasons. Whereas men are thinking, we don't remove somebody unless they've done something to violate the spirit of the group because they earn their position there. Whereas in a feminine type space, they will remove people because they didn't take anything for them to get in, right?
Well, it's also based on how they feel about that person.
Right. And there's very few, yeah. And so that's kind of the problem is and the moment you see the leader of a group that you're in showing weakness when someone is trying to converge the group, you kind of have to give them an ultimatum. If this occurs, I leave.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You have to leave them because it's the moment they cave, it's over. It's all like, it may take years, but it's going to fall apart, and you got to go rebuild, right? What happens with most men is they try to rationalize the fact, oh, I can fix this, or if we just stick it out or we fight or whatever. It's kind of like once once you've lost the big battle of the war, it's like at Gettysburg, once they failed on the third day, the war was over. They were going to lose. Everyone knew that.
Yeah, the Confederacy they knew they were, even with the the last ditch efforts, they knew.
Yeah. So once Pickett's charge failed, they could have probably just said, you know what, guys, let's
just go home. Let's just go home.
He could have just gone over and just said, you know what, we can go fight for another 2 years and have tons of people needlessly die, or we can just surrender then, right? Because there's no way we are going to win this war. Mm-hmm. But that just wasn't in their thinking, and it's unrealistic to expect them. But you got to have that thinking when you're in a part of a group where I've been pronouncing this word wrong apparently. The Rubicon has been crossed. Once the Rubicon has been crossed, it doesn't matter what happens after that point, right? Once Caesar crossed that river, he was committing treason. It was a civil war. Right? There's no mitigating factors after that. So it's the same thing with a group, and kind of being prepared to walk away from a group, right? Like not being so invested where you can't walk away from it once it's no longer serving your interests.
Yep. No, it's true.
Fuck them, let them burn.
Not for nothing.
There you
go.
Not
for nothing.
Gosh. No, it's let them burn is probably going to end up becoming a staple comment in the next coming months.
Already has been for me for damn near about 6-8 months already. Fuck them, let them burn. God.
Yep.
You know what's kind of amazing is just how many examples of where that's just like, it's not a rare case. It's becoming kind of a widespread principle.
Well, to me, it's the only sane principle in an insane world. Fuck them, let them burn.
Yeah,
you
right.
just, okay, whatever. And you go do your thing. Fuck them. I can do what I want. Let them burn.
Yeah, I saw that, Nick. I'll throw that up. Hang on.
I think what amazes me, Rob, is the fact that people cannot see their own hand in front of their face. As far as like, they do things.
That's in so many things too.
Yeah,
dude, damn near everything.
It really is.
Well,
that's why fuck them, let them burn.
Well, and I'm trying to understand that kind of that how people can be to the point where they're able to block out reality to that point.
Well, when you get invested in a belief, whatever that belief may be, whether it's Jesus or it's socialism, or it's whatever it is, whatever your belief is, you get invested in it. It's like guys that are stuck in the blue pill and simping to the women. Okay. You get invested in it. And for a lot of people, when reality hits them in the face, whatever that is, whatever the context is, it can destroy you. Especially when you've lived that lie a good chunk of your life. Okay.
Right.
So we can sit here and go, how do people do that? And it's like, well, we've all been there at some point, whether it's with women or a job or the economy or whatever it is. We've all been there where we got slapped in the face with it and went, whoa, what the fuck? You know? And you saw reality for that reality does not give a fuck. Reality is reality. That's just all it is. And you have a choice at that point. You can either double down or you can fucking adapt to the reality that's in front of you. Now, us, and I'd say probably everybody in the fucking chat, they decided, well, I'm going to go with reality. Doesn't mean they like it.
Right.
It's just what it is. They accepted it. Hey, I'm going to adapt. I'm going to revise everything, even if it means I'm changing up my entire life. I'm going to go from zero in whatever form that is and start over and redo myself, rebuild, reform, whatever it is. But the others that they can't handle it, so they double down and they keep doing that ad infinitum or whatever until they get crushed by it. Okay. And that's the people that you see that like commit suicide, go on a kill spree, people that they just, that, they're so whacked out in whatever it is that they're believing in that even the other believers are like, whoa, dude, you're way out there. I was with you until you hit this point, and then there you've gone a bridge too far. Okay. And so then they're isolated in, it's another form of zeroing, but they don't see it because anything else to them is death. I mean, it is death. It is a form of death. And it's, can you face it? Or do you turn your eyes away from it and double down?
So I think, Rob, what it causes them to do is to take it out on people who bring reality to them, like make it like where they're forced to confront reality. And so they want someone who's going to help them continue on in their delusion is what's going on. I mean, there's a lot of people out there I know who, or at least I see on social media and elsewhere, they are committed to a narrative that is ultimately false.
Right. And you know what my thought is on that? Fuck them. Let them burn.
I figured that was probably going to be what you said. I mean, I'm kind of shocked. I'm shocked that
you shocked at the very idea.
Well, I think what it amazes. I'm probably like a complete outlier on this stuff, but I've always been interested in what is the actual truth of something, right? And that what I've learned is, one, the truth is not a pleasant thing in a lot of cases.
Very seldom is.
Right. And so an example of this is there's people who believe, like it's a fervent faith of one nation indivisible, and that's a kind of like a law of physics. It's never going to change. We're always going to be one country. Well, if the United States ends up dissolving someday, and that could happen, who knows? Well, it could happen tomorrow. How do they process that? And it's almost where there are people who they don't acknowledge reality, and so they just keep going on as though nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
And like it's almost like when somebody dies and they don't accept it, so they just like start talking to them as if they're right next to them, right? Like it's so it goes against whatever narrative. Like, for example, when people as if they're being told during a war, like, we've lost, and they're like, that's not possible, and they don't accept it. They don't accept that the country's lost the war, right? So I don't know. I just see a lot of that, and so that's why I'm also concerned of just psychologically, like how many people are going to lose their minds over what's coming. Like, if you think the economy is like stable and that this was just a hiccup, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you when the stocks. I brought this up with people about the national debt. How is that ever going to get paid off? They've never given me a rational, sane answer. It's always been this sort of like we don't have to worry about that. Somebody's gonna have to. Somebody's got to. And if you put a gun to her head, they'd probably say, "Well, I'm gonna be dead, so it's not my problem." Well, here's the problem. What happens when it does happen and you're not dead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. All right, gentlemen. It's almost 12:30 here on the East Coast, Eastern Time. I still have to work in the morning. Yes, I am essential.
I was just going to ask you, so I take it you're essential.
My job is always essential.
Excellent.
Yeah. All right. So, everyone, thank you for joining us for this random Sunday Rogue broadcast. It was fun interacting with you all and just kind of goofing off and just being refreshingly silly and goofy.
And everybody
Always
was
good.
a little randy, a little
exactly.
Everyone's percolating in their juices at their house, getting a little randy.
What's lame is you arrived late to the fucking party.
Yeah.
Okay, we've been here since what, 11 o'clock?
Something like that.
God damn it. Stay up late because of my needs, Vince. Okay. Well, we'll stay up later for you next time, Conk. Make sure you check out this Wednesday coming up is the Session 4 D&D game. So make sure you're there for that. That will be starting at 9 p.m. Eastern, usual bat time, same bat channel. So everyone can let's do some quick housekeeping, and we are brief with this. TJ, where can everyone find you?
TJMartinell.com.
Fantastic. Rob?
RobSays.net.
There you go. And I'm on masculinegeek.com. So there you go. Everyone, enjoy your weeks, enjoy your lockdown, enjoy your quarantine. Stay safe, stay healthy, but keep the fires burning and keep moving forward, gentlemen.
And enjoy the decline.
Exactly. Enjoy the decline, and we'll see you Wednesday. Stay safe. That's right. Peace out.